Hello guys, welcome back to the next tutorial and kind of next section, right? So in this section we're going to talk about the classes and object-oriented programming. So it might look a little different to understand at the first look, but don't worry guys. This is the easiest thing in programming if you try to make it fun, and let's try to make it easy to understand and all those sort of things. So I'll bring up PyCharm, but let's first talk about stuff, then we'll start a little bit coding, not too much in the first lecture. So Python is an object-oriented programming like many other languages, Java, C Sharp, and others, right? What does it mean to be object-oriented language? And there's one more special thing in Python than other object-oriented languages, that in Python everything is an object. So what does it mean? It means that Python manipulates everything as an object. As we know, we have a car and that's an object, right? We might have a table, chair, that's an object, right? So you can think of object in terms of programming as a data structure, and the data structure is the data types that we're already looking at, right? Strings, list, dictionaries, tuples, they're all data types, data structures, right? And they can contain data, they can contain functions or methods, whichever way you want to call them. So those are the things, right? So for the object-oriented programming, because it's a little new concept if you're coming just fresh off the without any knowledge of programming, so it's kind of fresh concept. So we'll take a dig at it in few lectures, not just one. So go step by step so it's easy for you guys to understand it. And there are a few differences in Python than other languages. So it'll be good for you guys as well to split the lectures, because if you're coming from a different language, you might want to just get used to Python, right? So we'll talk about objects, the how do we create classes, what are the attributes and the member variables, and what are the methods inside the classes, how inheritance works in Python, and all those sort of things. So just to understand the object, let's understand us, the human being, as an object, right? We are also an object if just to understand the example, right? And we have properties, right? We have properties, right? We have two arms, eyes, ears, one nose, many hairs, two legs. So these are all properties, right? And other than that, a properties is I would have a name, I would have a nationality, I would have a gender, and all those sort of things. So these are the properties that attached to a human being, right? Or any other mammal as well, right? So so these are our properties if you consider human beings as an object. So just for an example, but let's move to a more real object. So the more real object that we can talk about here, and it's easy to understand, is let's imagine car as an object, and then car would have some attributes or properties, whatever you want to call. So attributes would be color of the car, make of the car, model of the car, year of the car, in which year it was built, and all those sort of things, right? These are the attributes that belong to the car. And then what are the methods? It could have methods like start the car, drive it, stop it, engine start, engine stop, right? Brake. So when we do these things, some action is happening, right? So these are basically some operations that we are doing on the car. So static things, what defines our car are the properties of the car, right? And what we can do with the car, on the car, those are the methods, right? So car is an imagining car is an object, we have properties or attributes of the car, and then we have methods that we can perform on that particular object, right? So so just to make this thing simple, this is we are talking about new objects, right? What kind of objects that we have already seen in Python language? So see, when we define a string, let's say this is a string. So when we define a string, this is a string. This is an object, right? And from where it's coming? It's coming from a string class which is already defined in Python. And when we are doing this, we are creating an object of the string. And when we do that, then a string has many properties and the methods that we can do on that. So we can just do s dot upper, that translates it into all uppercase, right? We can do s dot lower, so it converts everything into a lowercase. So what it does is these are the methods, and where do these methods stay? These stay in the string class. So if you see, when I control clicked it, it just goes to built-in dot py, and these are all defined, starts with split lines and everything is defined up there, replace, and all the stuff is defined. So these are the things that is already there. So this is a class called slice, and it performs on strings and all those things, and list and others, right? So these are all the classes and methods which is already available in built-ins, and the built-ins is in the Python, which is already available for us guys to use them, right? So similar way, what we can do is we can define a new object of any type, and then we can create some methods, we can assign some attributes to that object, and then we can let others use that. So similarly, we can, the way we have just created an object of the string class, we can just create an object of kind of instance of the object that we create. So we can create a class, and then we can create an instance of that class and then use it, perform operations on it, or use the attributes of that class. So lot of things we can do, right? So I'm just gonna keep it simple, so in the next lecture when you move, you get an idea of what we are talking about. So just understand this as an introduction of this, and in the next one we will actually create classes. So just to give you again more idea, so we've always been using this type method. So when we do this, I have a string, right, type. So if I, let's print it out, so if I print this thing out, it shows me it belongs to the class called str, right? And this is the type of s. So basically s is an instance or object of the string class, and string is the whole class, it's the object that we're talking about. So, and s is the instance of that, so it's one instance of that particular class, that particular object. So we can have similarly more, right? We can have a, and we can say one more string, right? So we can have this thing as well, similar. And if I want to print this, I can say yes, type of a, and if I run this code, type of a is also class of string. So a is another instance of the class or object string. So basically with the type we can get to know what is the type of that particular instance of the object, and we can do type for pretty much everything available, right? So we can do for list 1 2 3, and it's gonna show me the type as list, right? So when we create our own objects, or we can say our own classes, and we create instances of those things, then we get the type that's gonna refer to our own class and our own object. And how we do that in Python? We use the class keyword to do that, and I will show that in the next lecture. So let's keep it for the next lecture. In the next one we will create our own class, we will understand it more and in a better way. So for now that's about it, guys. So stay tuned for the next lectures. Thanks for attending this one. Thanks guys.